those packages is an incredibly powerful card. That's 10 through 6 of our Duskmorn top 10 list, 5 through 1 coming later today. But before we get there, we must start here, which is an updated bracket and getting ready here for quarterfinal number 2. We just had the opportunity to watch Seth Manfield take down the German juggernaut Kai Buda in a fantastic match. Seth wins that one 3-1. He's on to the semifinals. What we have to figure out is who Seth's opponent is going to be. Pham and then Javier Domínguez. That is going to be our next match in front of us, and that one is going to be an absolute doozy. I assume you're excited for that one, partner.
I am really excited. The number of storylines here, this top half of the bracket having all 3 of our previous world champions means that we are, unless Pham puts up a really sick run, very likely to have one previous world champion in the finals. And then that creates a chance for a repeat that we've only ever had once before.
Let's take a look at our head-to-head graphic now and get our eyes on what's going to be in front of us here. Javier Domínguez, my goodness, what a run he's having, right? I mean, it just seems like every time we get the opportunity to cover one of these tournaments, he's always doing well in them. And so you see the results, of course, 4 Pro Tours played this season, started in 2001, a former world champion with an 11-3 record playing Demir Demons. We all know who Javier is and what he can do. You see the champion, mythic champion in Long Beach. I remember that tournament. I remember the excitement with the win and everything that, you know, whenever Javier is kind of getting it going, he's going to bring energy to the room. His performance is always so good. And his run through, his rounds this weekend, I'll tell you, man, he's been dominant. You know, we see the first draft, a 2-1. Maybe a little bump in the road against Jeskai Convoke, against Christian Calcano, and then is able to win out through day number 1 of competition, taking care of Gruul Prowess, Gruul Midrange, and then Gruul Prowess once again. Then we go to the next draft. That's a 3-0 to get his day off to a beautiful start. 3-0ing the second draft is always a wonderful feeling. Again, a little bit of a bump in the road there in round number 11 against Pham, who's going to be his opponent right now. Lost to Demir Demons 2-0, but then is able to take care of Pro Tour Avison Restored champion Alexander Hayne. Take care of World's runner-up Eli Cassis. That's win number 10. He's in, and that's why we're going to get the opportunity to see him in just a moment. But the opponent, Pham, who we mentioned, has already taken care of Javier once. He is from Canada, which Monty is certainly rooting for here. You see a champion of the Face-to-Face Tour Championship in Toronto, won the RC to get here, said he just wants to have fun, and when you're winning, I think you're having a lot of fun, starting off with a 2-1 in draft, then string together a couple of wins in Constructed on day 1 to end things at 5-2. Move in and 3-0 the second draft. Again, one of the best feelings in competitive Magic. Win, lose, win. But as you do see again in round number 11, took care of Javier once, finishes off Lucas Duco, who of course top-aided Pro Tour Thunder Junction. In with that 10th win, there you go. So now we get the opportunity to watch these 2 great players do battle. The round by round, pretty similar. Obviously Limited having a huge impact, Monty, and now we get to get our eyes on the deck list of these 2 players and what we think is going to happen in this matchup. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is going to be a lot of fun, and it is a Demir Demons mirror, but only in name, really, as we take a look at the differences between these 2 decks. The players did not test together, of course. Javier's build of Demir Demons, you do see that the core of Unholy Annex plus Archfiend of the Dross, definitely there. But where Team Handshake decided to go with their 2-card kill combo is Jace the Perfected Mind, have it on the battlefield, drop down a Doomsday Excruciator, both players' libraries set to 6, and then Jace finishes them off. So that's the 2-card combo. Helps you go over the top of the other mid-range decks and really try to get the job done. On the other side, Pham, Demir Demons, but very different take. Unholy Annex, still there. But now you're curving it not just into Archfiend of the Dross, but more importantly, Bloodletter of Aclazotz. We talked about the 2-card combo that this provides with any effect that makes your opponent lose half of their life. It is a demon, so it is a nice curve after the Annex, but that's not really the best curve you can have, because what you're looking for is the Punisher, the unstoppable slasher right there. If you can land that on turn 3 and the coast is clear for Bloodletter of Aclazotz on turn 4, well, that's just the game. So really, the faster 2-card kill combo is coming out of Pham.
This could end very quickly. There is a lot of interaction between the 2. So Monty, I'm going to move over to you. Who's your pick here?
Okay, my heart says
Yes.
He's done it before. He beat Javier in the Swiss, okay? But I think looking at the two decks, I actually do like the team handshake build of Dimir Demons more. I think that considering Javier has lost to Ha before, he has that experience coming back into the matchup and he can adjust. And especially in a best of 5, I think this is where that experience leads to an edge. So I'm going to pick Javier Domínguez for this one.
How quickly Monty turns his back on his native land of Canada.
It hurts.
But
it
Javier
hurts.
Domínguez, he's quite the Magic player. Our match is ready to rock and roll. We are excited to see this battle between Javier Domínguez and Pham. And who better to call the action than Ailey Loney and Corey Baumeister? My friends, take it away.
Thank you so much, Cedric. Thank you, Monty. And don't worry, Monty, I'm kind of with you there. Like, my heart wishes for Canadians to be in the finals of the World Championship, but it's Javier Domínguez. Come on, Corey.
What a tough first opponent in your very first premier event, top 8. You got to play a best of 5 against one of the greatest to ever cast spells. Going to be an uphill battle for sure.
It's going to be an awesome matchup to two Dimir Demons decks. It's a Demirer.
Demir, I like
But
it.
different builds of the Demons deck that we have seen from both of these players, different testing, different teams, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top here, who can get the edge. We know that Ha has picked up a victory against Javier in previous rounds, but let's see how today treats him.
Yep, I think one of the big things that we're all going to be keeping an eye on here from a spectator standpoint is the Unholy Annex. If you can get that down and the other player doesn't have an answer for it straight away, that is how you're going to gain a ton of card advantage. So we see it here already from Javier, and just snap takes it. That's how important that card is. Even though Ha has the ability to just duress Javier back, it's just like, no, you need to get that Unholy Annex out of there. It just creates so much snowball card advantage.
It sure does. Instantly snap that out of there. A duress in hand. We got the Bloodletter. We have the Fairy Mastermind, a land, and then Dread Return. Excuse me, Rush of Dread, which I still want to see do things, Corey. Maybe we'll get the chance.
Yeah, nice fun of one of here for Ha, but it really can do some damage. Or it can be a 4-mana Terminate, which we did see throughout the weekend, that kind of thing. It's a nice versatile card for sure.
It is exactly that. So Javier just taking note of the contents of Ha's hand. And pretty sure Ha is going to return the favor as soon as the turn is passed back to him. Again, excellent choice in Swamps there, good sir.
Yep. Yeah, and we are kind of looking at in this Dimir mirror here is we do have both decks being able to play a mid-range role, counter spells, hand disruption, all this kind of stuff, but both also having a combo finish. So looking out for this Bloodletter, looking out for the Slasher combo, or on the flip side, looking out for the Jace, the Perfected Mind, and the Doomsday Excruciator. These are going to be the big I win buttons for both players.
They will indeed. Fairy Mastermind attempting to get some damage in there. Javier says no, cuts it down. Out the sky goes former world champion Yuta Takahashi. And now we get to take a look at the hand of Ha. Plenty of removal, an Archfiend of the Dross, and then Fountain Port, which has been a really nice inclusion in plenty of decks this weekend.
No, it's been an incredible land. And here for this, taking the Anoint makes a lot of sense, as Ha's kind of best early play is to find an unstoppable slasher. And if you don't have a clean removal spell like Anoint is used for, it can really just come back and then create just one hit, take 11, no big deal.
Yeah, you need to get that Slasher extra dead, i.e. exiled, because otherwise it just comes back and then you have to use even more resources on it to keep it out of play, as we see the Unstoppable Slasher hit the board now for Ha.
Yep, so now Javier has the decision. Do you want to, if he doesn't have another threat to play, he has to think, do I want to maybe 2-for-1 myself, use a removal spell now? He doesn't have to decide immediately if he wants to use a second removal spell on the Slasher. He can play a couple threads, kind of get ahead on the battlefield, and then deal with it. But more than likely, Javier will just have to fire another piece of removal spell, as the Slasher is just such an incredible card from Duskmorn here.
It's just having a nap at the moment, so it's
Just
the
a nice
Unstoppable
nap.
Napper.
There you go. Slashing's tough, you know?
It is, yeah. It takes a lot out of you.
Yep.
So one of those stun counters comes off of the Slasher. Gives Javier an extra bit of time to think about things. Ooh, nice. Picks up another Unholy Annex and is going to start getting some cards.
Yeah, this is just the card that Javier duressed immediately, but Ha was the first person to be able to get this card advantage engine going, and Javier is definitely just on the back foot already. Number one, the best threat on the battlefield with Ha, and the best card advantage engine with Unholy Annex.
Definitely. Go for the throat now, taking care of the Slasher once and for all. So bye-bye, friend. See you later. Maybe, hopefully not, for Javier.
And I think I did see an Unholy Annex as well from Javier, but he really would have loved a land to be able to cast the Unholy Annex and deal with the Slasher, because that was the one window. Ha would have not been able to attack with the Slasher next turn, but it would lose all those stun counters, so then you'd have to use 2 removal spells again.
Yeah. A little fish here on the board now for Javier. He can't stop, won't stop. Unstoppable Slasher back on the board. It's a second one, but, you know, same card. Same effect, and needs another answer now from former world champion Javier Domínguez.
Yeah, these kind of mid-range battles come down to who can just play more threats that equate to 2-for-1s. And so far, Ha is definitely winning in that regard. Has drawn 2 cards off the Annex, has had the Unstoppable Slasher, had to have 2 removal spells pointed at it. So big advantage to Ha in the early parts of the game.
Definitely. You know, he's got more lands, he's got the better creature. Both players have the Annex. But as it stands, Ha has more things to do with more mana and a bigger creature that if it hits, well, Javier is in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, and I don't see a cut down here, so it's just, do you want to throw away your fish or take a ton of damage? Decides the fish.
I think we're going to throw a fish at the Slasher. Distraction!
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's the follow-up here now from Ha? Could unlock the second half, and that is exactly where he's going to go. So a big ol' 6/6 demon joins the Unstoppable Slasher. And now things are going to look a little hairy here. What do we find? Ooh, there's an Anoint with Affliction.
Okay.
2 of them. No? Oh, that's Shoot
Anoint
the Sheriff?
and Shoot the Sheriff.
Yeah.
So can Shoot the Sheriff the demon and anoint the Slasher and then draw a card off Unholy Annex. So that's just baseline play. He has 2 Archfiends of the Dross as well. So that's the question. Can Javier play a threat, afford to play a threat here, or does he have to deal with the threat? He is definitely deeming it. He has to deal with the threats here.
Yeah. You know, sure you could play a demon, but then if the demon dies and you're taking so much damage, he could well be dead.
Yeah.
If his 6/6 is dealt with, so.
There's one thing to play around here from Javier. There's one shore up. And Javier decides to do this before draw step because if he has one more chance to draw that card, it would just be a complete blowout. Yeah. The reason he didn't do it at end step is Haas still had 1 mana available. So he's taxing his mana and just making it so if you have shore up, at least you have to use it on your turn. It's a very minor thing, but that's these minor edges are why you see these players in the top 8 of a world championship.
You know, make the control players use the mana on their turn so that you have more options on yours when the turn comes back. But the board is now clear, so Javier doing a good job of clearing off Ha's battlefield. So where do we go to now from the Canadian and regional champion, Bloodletter of Aclazotz? Hey, bud, that would have been nice to have around with the Unstoppable Slasher, but alas.
So here is the other kind of cool combo. The first combo is Bloodletter with Slasher. Win the game if the Slasher connects. But with this, Bloodletter and the Unholy Annex, now instead of Ha gaining 2 and Javier losing 2, it's increased to 4.
Yeah.
Javier loses 4. Ha still gains 2, but...
Shoot the Sheriff. Pew pew! That's going to take care of the Bloodletter, so Vampire Demon down. So much removal in these Dimir mid-range decks.
Yep, 100%. And just this Unholy Annex has just been amazing from both players, but Ha just had it on the battlefield for 3 extra turns.
He's got 3 in his hand now. Good grief. All right, so 1 Archfiend of the Dross hanging out with the bat here from Ha. You got to feel pretty good to see that if you're Ha, right?
You would think so. I mean, if Ha has 1 or 2 removal spells in hand, he is fine with Javier just casting 1 big demon turn after turn, as Ha can go big demon, drain for 2, but a duress off the top was huge.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, Anoint, go for the Throat Fairy Mastermind, and then the fun of 1 of Rush of Dread.
And he says, yeah, that is enough there.
Yeah, that's just gas aplenty in hand there for Haas. So the Canadian picks up the first game here in our best of 5. Just a reminder that the first 2 games are pre-sideboard, so no touchy. They just shuffle it up and go again.
Yep, absolutely. And then the sideboarding begins after this. So now Javier is just thinking, okay, I just do not want to be down 2-0 and have to win all 3 sideboard games. Gets to be very, very tricky when that's the case. So a mulligan to 5 from Ha, though.
I mean, I don't like this hand, but at the same time, I like that there's duplicates of the Annex, so...
I mean, as far as molds to 5 go, that's about the ideal hand. Like, 3 land, 2 Unholy Annexes. Now Javier is really put to the test to have second duress. Otherwise, Ha can come back from this for sure.
That's like second breakfast, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is a good little insulation from the Unholy Annex, where now if you get a card, Javier will get one as well, but it doesn't cost him 2 life. So a nice signed Fairy Mastermind
Yeah.
by the world champ himself, Yuta Takahashi.
Unstoppable Slasher is going to get stopped, and stopped in its tracks for good with Anointed Affliction, exiling. And Duress again, oh my, just dismantling the hand here of Ha. Looked like he had a pretty good comeback, but at this point, it's not looking too good.
Yeah, he did. And all because of that Fairy Mastermind, it forced Ha to play in such a way where he played the Unstoppable Slasher instead of the Annex. So Fairy Mastermind really dictated how Ha had to play the game. And then Javier had the chance to Duress as he top decked it.
Oh my. Picks up the third, though, you know, top of the library being kind there, but Spellsetter saying, no, we're good. And also, Yuta Takahashi ×2, the Fairy Mastermind, making that even more expensive. So I couldn't even pay the tax on that if you wanted to.
Yeah, now at any point, Javier can go, all right, end step, we each draw a card, but Javier gets to draw 2 extra cards as well.
Bloodletter from Ha, and the two 2-1s doing a pretty decent job.
No cut down check, it looks like.
Yep.
So Javier gets to go with 4 mana Ancestral Recall when
Yeah.
Ha only gets 1.
They're great in pairs, seems like. There's a Duress. Nothing in hand, really, so...
Yeah, now we'll see if Javier has a way to push through this Bloodletter. I don't think he did have a removal spell, so just playing a demon to have the biggest creature on the battlefield. But now Ha does get to play another big demon and has the battlefield relatively shored up, but still a lot of card advantage on Javier's side. This is definitely his game to lose.
Oh, yeah. 100%. You know, just the pace at which he is churning through Ha's life total here. He's down to 8 now. And if he can manage to get one of these big threats off the board, then the 6/6 demon just starts putting him to 0 pretty much.
Absolutely. So I saw an Anoint, which is not a great removal spell here from Javier, as well as another Archfiend of the Dross and a land. So more than likely...
Draw cards?
Yep, draw some cards. I don't believe... Yeah, it's a tap land anyway, so what Javier would love to do is go Archfiend of the Dross plus unlock the Unholy Annex, but not able to do that.
He'd get 3 cards doing it now, right, if he did.
With the Unholy Annex?
Oh, sorry, no, with the Masterminds.
Yeah, yeah.
Try to dig for removal.
Exactly. 3 cards if we do it on Ha's turn.
For now, though, just going to get another Archfiend down and swing in here with the 6/6 token.
And this is just Javier saying, I'm okay with this trade here.
Sure.
Javier would like to have Ha not have a removal spell for this Archfiend, but did Duress, so has the information anyways.
Yep, and an attack next turn without any flying blockers would mean Javier tying up this match at 1 apiece, and then the players get to sideboard.
Yeah, and no real great 1 card that Ha can draw here. Really, really just super behind in this game.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of a miracle of string of events.
Oof, yeah.
This should
Malta
work.
5, you know, he did the best he could, but with the hand disruption from Javier as well, there wasn't any real, you know, sure possibility of him winning this matchup. But let's have a look at the sideboards here, what the players decided to do in going into game number 3.
Yep, so it looks like Javier Domínguez decided to bring in 2 Liliana of the Veils, 1 more Anoint of the Affliction, Jace the Perfected Mind, and a Withering Torment.
Nice.
Took out Archfiends of the Dross, actually, which is pretty interesting. Took out a Cut Down and 1 Shoot the Sheriff. And as far as Ha brought in 2 Liliana as well, so ends up being a great card for the mirror. Brings in 1 Shieldred, 1 extra Duress, 1 Negate. Took out all the bats and
bats,
1
yeah.
Cut out. Or cut down, excuse me.
Yeah,
from Ha.
the bats in this matchup aren't really great. We saw plenty times yesterday where it's just like, you know, the bats just hold your removal for you because you're going to kill one and then you're going to get removal and then you're going to kill another. And yeah, it's just a mess.
Yeah, it's just because the Dimir mid-range deck, whether it's Dimir Demon, Dimir mid-range, however you want to label it, just have so much redundancy when it comes to the removal spells. So sure, you take one of the removal spells and then you just use one of your other ones to get it back. It's kind of a waste of 2 mana, where something like Duress, you get the card out of their hand and it ends up being a lot better.
Yeah, there is really, really good removal in black at the moment in
Yes.
all the formats. And Duress here forcing the issue. So the Fairy Mastermind taken care of with Anoint with Affliction. Gets to take a look at the hand. And there was quite a few lands there and another Fairy Mastermind. I didn't catch the rest.
Yeah, 5 lands and a Fairy Mastermind, and that was
Okay,
it for
there was
Javier.
nothing else to catch. Never mind.
Yep, that's the classic, oh, I gotcha, as you didn't have anything good to duress, but also I don't have any good cards, so.
Well, the card advantage engine online first here for Ha. We have the Fairy Mastermind 2, though, which will get to benefit if it survives.
Yep, so got to draw the card here off this Unholy Annex, and this was face-up information for Ha, so that's not the best exchange. You know, you each get to draw a card. Ha loses the life, though, but just kind of saying, I don't have an answer to this Fairy Mastermind yet, and here's threat number 2 from Javier, a nice draw.
Yeah, just 8 old power in the sky, no biggie.
Yeah, and if Ha didn't have a piece of removal for the Fairy Mastermind now, we'll see if he picked one up.
Yep.
Cut down's a great draw.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, nice. And go for the throat. So, board clear once again. A little bit more stable, still taking 2 damage from that Annex.
So no third land for Ha. This is the classic situation of kind of mana flood versus mana screw here. Usually, eventually, you get out of it if you're missing a bunch of land drops because, well, Ha just has nothing but gas in hand.
Liliana hits the board.
That's the type of card that's very good against a person that is stuck on lands, as Javier is 100% discarding a land.
Oh, yeah.
And Ha is going to be discarding a relevant spell.
Yes, that's a negate and a land like you mentioned.
Yep. Just Fairy Mastermind and 2 lands in hand for Javier, so he's drawn okay since the Whiffed Duress, but not amazing. Now we'll see. I see another Unholy Annex there from Ha, so if he goes for that...
He's going to be taking 4 each end step.
Yeah, he's going to be taking a lot, but goes for the Slasher instead. Now Javier does have another great exchange of getting a 2-mana, 2/1 flyer that also draws him a card.
Free cards, and he doesn't lose any life for it. So now Javier just gets to turn this Mastermind sideways. Ha is struggling for mana. You know, when you see the Dimir deck chucking away counter magic, you know that they just don't have the option. They don't have the luxury to hold up mana. They're not doing anything else otherwise.
Exactly. Now we see Liliana deal with half, kind of the Unstoppable Slasher, while Javier picked up another Liliana and a Jace, the Perfected Mind. So the Liliana, not great right now. He can just go next turn negative and then play another one, which is not bad. But the Jace actually looks pretty strong here, just depending on what kind of modes Javier wants to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, with the Jace as well, you don't really ever need to pay the full cost for it, because if you did have the Doomsday Excruciator out and then did that, then...
Yeah. Just having extra loyalty is not so bad, just in case it gets attacked, but it looks like Javier wants to be much more aggressive here and gets in for half of Ha's life total. I love this play.
Woo.
Jace, getting card advantage, sure, is fine, but against an opponent who is stuck on lands, get him dead.
Yeah, just get the game over and done with as soon as you possibly can, you know, no mercy.
Yep.
This is the World Championship, man.
Absolutely.
You got to be a little cutthroat.
Now Ha is in this kind of rough spot where not only does he have to fight against Javier's 2 threats that are killing him, but also has to find a way to get a demon into play. So his whole plan is going to be either play demon or kill creatures. And now if Javier is able to top deck a Go for the Throat or something, we're just done here. And he actually already has negative Lily to deal with 1 threat, negative Lily the other one to get rid of that.
Can't do the Reef then at the same time, but, you know, that's...
He did top deck Anoint. So he can anoint the Slasher,
and then minus
the Lily, and then attack for 6.
Oh, man, that just came up perfectly for Javier here. But he's going to take a quick look just to make sure.
Yeah. Or he could pump the brakes more and do the 2 Liliana play and try to play Jace. I like the Anoint play.
No pump and brakes. Let's go. Get rid of that Slasher. -2 on Lily. Get rid of the Demon. Animate the land, and then Ha will die in his end step if he doesn't have a Demon.
So now he has to get a Demon and have threats. So, I mean, the best possible thing that Ha can get is land 5, Archfiend of the Dross, plus have cut down.
Yeah.
That's like the best scenario for Ha. And even that, he's probably still dead to this Liliana with that line.
There's the land.
Yep, this is game.
Unlocks it. Yep.
There you go. Shows land Liliana, animates the Reef, wins the game.
Good grief. I made a pun. So, 2-1 now to Javier Domínguez, looking very, very strong indeed in that post-sideboard matchup. Let's go into game number 4, see.
Yeah, so game number 4, sometimes you see players that will change their sideboard configuration via the play and the draw. Neither player made any changes here, so it kind of just leads me to believe that they just say, okay, I have a good configuration against the Dimir mid-range match, and we're not going to see any more sideboard changes from the ones that I mentioned earlier.
Kicking things off here, Fairy Mastermind now from Ha's side of things. Javier is going to take the 2 this time around.
And it looks like
removal?
Javier did have a removal spell.
He's got go for the throat ×2, I believe.
Yeah, but wanted to see if there was going to be a bigger threat from Ha that he would like to kill. Says, no problem, I'll take 2 damage, use my life as a resource, and kill it at end step once he has perfect information.
Looks like he has a Mastermind as well in hand there as he flicks through the cards.
Javier is a master of flicking through his cards quick and keeping us on our toes.
Oh, yeah.
No real good answer for Slasher, though. No Anoint to be able to cleanly deal with it as far as I saw.
Yeah, no clean answers, but he would be able to go for the throat chair just to keep it from attacking.
And then he has the Bronco, which I was poking a little bit of fun at, as it's really tough for this deck to actually saddle it. But then he just looked at me dead in the eyes and just says, but Corey, you draw a card. And I'm like, all right, you got me, buddy. But I was like, what if you take 8? And he's like, you still got the card.
You take 8. We saw him do that yesterday.
Got the card. Yeah, Ina's winning it against
Javier ain't no chicken. Oh. Just making sure that the correct thing is happening here.
Oh, there might have been a missed trigger from Ha, maybe? Went to the graveyard and didn't come back? I would assume that is still Ha's responsibility to remember if it dies to return it to the battlefield tap. That is a huge misstep.
Oof.
I mean, yeah,
That's brutal.
This is the World Championship, though. There's really no takesies, backsies at any point, you know? I mean, all these players have to make sure they maintain the game state, and that will be a huge loss here for Ha.
And Javier did confirm with the judge that that is a trigger that can be missed. So that's a big, big blow for Ha.
Yep, any kind of trigger you can miss at any point. And a duress here whiffing once again. Ha's duresses have not been the best.
Doomsday Excruciator in hand. Is this the game we get to see the big dumb demon?
I feel like we have never seen this card cast yet so far. I'm sure it's won plenty of games.
I think he's just there to be imposing, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the threat of it makes you play the game a little bit different. But if any game looks decent, it would be this one. The problem with Doomsday Excruciator, if it just comes into play, you have no way to, you know, Jace away your opponent or anything like that. You will actually deck first because you're drawing 2 cards.
Unless there's an Unholy Annex on the board. Haha, which
That's
we see now.
true.
But Fairy Mastermind will keep you at parity there, so.
So we'll see. Is it finally time to see the extremely powerful demon?
Come on, give us a treat, Javier. In for 2, down to 14 goes Ha, 6th land. Doomsday, Doomsday, Doomsday.
Yeah, there's not just a big I got you play that Ha can have if this Doomsday comes down. The best play would be attacking with the creature land, the Reef, but Ha's list actually doesn't play any of those, which is pretty wild.
I think we saw that yesterday when we were wondering, okay, how does he get out of this pickle?
Yeah.
In these matches.
Yeah, really no way to do that.
Alrighty, Javi, where are we going?
It looks like we're doing it.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Don't tease us. Please? I want to see it. Oh, boring duress.
Goes for the adult play of duress.
Yeah, I know. It's the World Championship. He wants to be a 2-timer.
Honestly, makes a lot of sense. If he went Doomsday Excruciator and Ha were to top deck 5th land and anoint the Fairy Mastermind and then Liliana the Doomsday, that would have been pretty bad for Javier. So
Yeah. Fine, he's right. Of course he's going to be right. He's such a good player. And this is the quarterfinals of the World Championship. Thank you, everyone who is joining us, watching this live. And we hope you do enjoy the magic, as we will see former world champion Yuta Takahashi taken care of with Anoint with Affliction.
Yeah, and there was no real great way for Ha to do this, to not allow Javier to get an extra card, because if he goes to end step, Javier just says, yeah, resolve your Unholy Annex trigger, then he draws an extra card. So Ha had to blink first, and then Javier was able to activate Fairy Mastermind, so.
Yay! Okay, I'm happy now. I can leave this weekend satisfied that the Doomsday Excruciator has finally hit the board. The final 6 cards of each player's library will remain, and if we're lucky, we get to see Jace next turn.
Yep, and there was the Reef as well, so it looks like Javier just wins the game next turn by attacking with the Reef via mill. This is, of course, a play on the powerful card Doomsday for any Eternal format fans.
I assume that's not attached to a creature.
It is not.
Cool.
It is a very complicated card, but very fun.
More complicated than the ones now?
Yeah, you got to pick your 5 cards and then create your library. Yep.
That sounds tiresome. Okay, so we have a big old dumb demon down. It is a 6/6. We have the land, like you mentioned. We can either mill or we just go to Ha's end step, and he doesn't have a demon and he dies anyway. So two ways to death here for the Canadian. And
so I think it's over. We see Liliana, we see Unholy Annex, we see Archfiend and Bloodletter in hand. Those are the 4 cards. There's no answer to the Reef. Sure, you can play a big creature to block it, but it's the mill effect when it attacks. Yeah. That's all we need. So I think Ha has to leave up 2 mana and hope to find a removal spell that can deal with the land, and there's not many.
Yeah.
Anoint the Affliction is one, but there's a lot of removal spells that say non-land, so has 3 Anoints, 2 Go for the Throats, as answers to this creature land at the beginning of combat. Otherwise, it's just going to win the game next turn. And I think with Ha slowing down here, he's coming to that realization.
He's figuring it out, too. Also checking out the land, being like, okay, how do I deal with this and that and the next thing? There's just so many ways that this is going wrong for him. And going right for Javier, who is keeping his World Championship dreams alive, keeping his Player of the Year dreams alive.
Yes.
Here comes an Archfiend of the Dross. I don't think it's going to be enough, though.
This just seals the game. Ha cannot win now by doing this. At least if you leave 2 mana available, you have a chance to survive. But I think it's just time to animate the land. As long as I saw a creature land in the... Okay, maybe not, actually. No, that is a Reef there in the middle.
No, there's a Reef there. Ha checked it out. Duress to clear the way now for Javier Domínguez. And I think we're going to see... Javier.
He drew the Anoint, but it wouldn't have mattered because of the Duress, but he would have drawn it if he didn't play the Demon. Wild.
Javier having the answers there and is going to get to another semifinals in unbelievable fashion. Javier Domínguez does it again.
I mean, that next semifinals with Javier and Seth with so many implications on the line, that is going to be amazing.
I mean, they're essentially playing for Player of the Year and a finals at the World Championship.
Incredible. This is must-see TV for sure.
Jeez. You know, going into this, I was crossing my fingers that we'd see another 2-time world champion.
Yeah.
They're all on the same side of the bracket, so there's only going to be one person now that can make that happen. So
many possibilities to be 2-time world champions, and so many people in this top 8 have won it already.
Oh my gosh, absolutely incredible stuff. Cedric got to interview Javier after his win, so let's go hear what he has to say.
I'm making a habit of hanging out with Javier Domínguez after another big victory. Javier, quick summary of the match for me, my friend.
Well, I think things just went my way. Like, he missed land drops where he, had a strong card, so some matches just go your way. Also, Fairy Mastermind was excellent. The cards have been excellent to me the whole weekend, so I hope I keep wronging them all the time.
One-word answer. You want Kai or you want Seth?
I think I actually want Seth because the matchup against Seth is probably okay. The matchup against Kai is not so okay. It's pretty bad, I think, so I definitely want Seth.
There you go. Can't wait to watch it. Javi, congrats.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Having got his wish, it's going to be Seth facing him next, but we still have 2 more quarterfinals to show you. Yoshihiko Ikawa, Marcio Carvalho up next.